for people that are being rejected at the moment. But I wanted to go over a few things that I feel like when I mentor people that they struggle with or ask me a lot, and a lot of people don't connect with their mentor a lot or take a lot of classes. And I thought I'd go over some things of when I first started real estate, what I wish I'd have known back then, kind of skip a lot of things. But I would say when I first started, I think I didn't realize how expensive it was going to be. Like the school is affordable, but when you start with an MLS and you have to buy your e-key, which used to be free, it was $18 a month, but now they charge like $300, to for you to even turn on your e-keys. So and if I want to sell a property in Dallas and Houston, to use their MLS, you want to have a member, you want to have a membership as a secondary, and you can have a membership as a secondary and it's less. It doesn't cost you the same as it does your primary. So your first city is a certain amount, and then a secondary usually isn't as expensive. So it's worth the money. You always have to have one MLS membership. I think this is really important to know. Because if I have someone going to sell a house or buy a house in East Texas, I'll join the East Texas MLS because it's worth me making, and it's not that far to drive, 3 or 4 hours. I mean, you get stuck in traffic in Houston, it's, 2 hours. So it's worth, maybe for, it depends, like if you're in the Houston area, maybe go to, San Antonio if it's not too far for you, or go to Dallas if it's not too far for you. If you have someone who's spending enough money and they're serious buyers, it's worth it, and it might cost you $250 to join their MLS, and you don't have to keep that. If you're not using that, you can drop that MLS. But a lot of people think they have to refer everything. My children are grown and I want to make that money. Sometimes you only have to go 1 or 2 times. So it's really worth it to me. If you have any questions at any time, just let me know, and you could just ask me. Okay, so the main thing I would say is the fees. When I first started real estate in 2008, so I started with Exit Realty. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Exit Realty. Everybody there was like so nice. Back in 2008, everybody had phone duty. Like EXP doesn't do phone duty, so a lot of you that are new realtors don't even know what that is. But when I started in real estate, we had to set phone duty. Like everybody rotated, and you got the leads off those phone calls that came in. But I felt like a receptionist. Like I was answering those phone calls and transferring it to other agents, and I didn't like it. You don't make any money on phone duty if you don't get a buyer. You hope somebody calls in on one of the properties that your office has listed. That's how that works. So I'm so glad I don't have to do phone duty anymore. But I will say the one sale I made my first year, I only made one sale my first year. It was these 2 intoxicated men came in from the lake. They've been fishing and saw this cabin for sale and wanted me to go show them that cabin. And I didn't want to go. But I asked a guy that worked with me if he would please go with me. He was my broker, and he did go. And those men paid cash for that house, like wrote a check, and really just in like 10 days we closed. And that was my only sale my first year. But I did ask somebody to go with me. And I think it's important for people to know that if you go to show a property, and that's another thing, I felt like I had to do everything. Like if somebody wanted to see a house in the 4th ward or 3rd ward or something, an area that you don't feel too comfortable in, I would do it. And I remember showing a house. It was $15,000. It was 7 o'clock. There was no electricity. It was dark, and there was like spray paint, all over the houses in the neighborhood. It was not really a good place for me to be by myself at night. But I didn't want to tell somebody no, and it's okay to tell somebody no. I've learned through some odd circumstances, like I've never had anything happen to me, but sometimes you get people that say odd things and you just have an uncomfortable feeling. If I don't know the client the first time that I'm going to meet them, a lot of times I'll go early and I'll walk through the house. So I already know what the house looks like. I turn on all the lights, I go back outside. And if the people pull up and it's a husband and a wife or it's a family, it's okay. I'll just go on in, right? But if I have any kind of feeling at all, I'll open up the door and I'll say, go ahead and take a look around and let me know if you have any questions. And then when they go like upstairs or something, you might step in the living room and keep talking to them. But you don't have to go first into the garage. You don't have to do anything that you feel uncomfortable with. And so I would say, just to let you know, it's okay to say no. And if someone's mean to you, as bad as we want that money, don't make yourself miserable. And then they don't even buy something. I mean, it's possible they're going to buy something, but I don't work with mean people anymore. But when I first started, I did, I worked with everybody. And I just want you to know, nobody's going to think bad about you or anything because you turned something down, because in any kind of way, you didn't feel comfortable. You should enjoy your job. A big thing that I think people don't realize is how much it costs to buy a house, right? They're going, oh, we're going to go FHA. I need 3.5% to put down. Well, if anybody's closed a house, it's double that. That's exactly how you calculate that. It's about double that. So you're going to have your 3.5% that you put down, and then you have your closing costs. But I like to win. In last year's market, the only way I could win is to get somebody to pay more money, to give a no option period. I'll close in 2 days, even though I know we can't close in 2 days. If the title company can do their paperwork, my buyer will close tomorrow. I've won deals by putting it like that. I've won deals where they pay, somebody else offered $15,000 more and they lost, because I know that cash can close in 10 days or less all the time. There's no reason a title company can't get your stuff done that you can't close in 10 days or less. I'll call my title company. I'll say, I really want to win this deal. Can you put a rush on this and close me in 5 days? And they'll tell you if they can or can't, and you can do that. And cash can close quickly if the title company can get their paperwork in. Do you have anything to say or anything like that so far? Okay.
Looks like we have a question in the chat box about the MLS membership. Going back a second, they're asking, how long is it good for?
So I know most of them are quarterly, but I keep Austin quite a bit. It's only $266 twice a year, but you get all that surrounding area. I do East Texas, Dallas Fort Worth. I mean, Dallas Fort Worth covers all the Air Force Base, everywhere from Wichita Falls, Waxahachie, Dallas, and some of East Texas. HAR's the biggest in the state. I believe it's the biggest in the state. And you'll also see a lot of the West Texas things. They have like a co-membership with HAR. So you'll see some things in Lubbock. Quite a bit of the MLS is integrated with HAR. But anyway, to answer your question, it's normally a quarter, $150 a quarter or something like that, or twice a year. But I think it's worth it. I started taking my classes to get my license in Florida. I've had a lot of people from here want to buy a house in Florida. And of course, EXP is everywhere, right? So that's what's so great. That to me, like I could work anywhere. To me, the biggest thing about working for EXP is I can really work anywhere and not have to pay 2 brokers, and so I really like that. So I do intend, it's worth it to me to join the MLS in Florida to try to help my buyers find a property, and I'd make like $30,000. So it's worth spending $600 or so and some time to do my classes. So you don't have to be a member, like I said. Just if you have somebody come up and they're from somewhere that you don't mind going to, I would join their MLS. You could see everything, talk to other realtors. Sometimes people are going to buy a property. You see people are buying more remotely. It's so great to be educated about your area, even that you're in. I know this kind of sounds different, but know your water tables, right? Like talk to a well person in the area that you live in and say, could you tell me in this area, because a lot of people are developing land. You see it everywhere, right? If you're remote and there's no water lines, you're going to have a water well, and your buyer's going to say, I wonder what it would cost to drill a water well here. And right off the bat, you can tell them, and it's like a 2-minute phone call. You just call a local water well driller, like I know everywhere around here, because I like that kind of thing. And I like to be with a buyer and they say, I wonder what it costs for a septic system. And I could say, well, the soil out here is, class 4. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like really, really hard is a 4, real clay, clay and stuff like that's a 4. And the best sandy stuff is a 1. I believe. Now I'm second guessing myself. Maybe it's reversed, but just know, when you go, like what, be educated. They really like that. And a water well usually costs about $6,500, but you can go to some places in Texas where it's $30,000. So I think it's really good to have some knowledge about where you're working. Also, a lot of times people won't have a survey, and you can go on the county website, and you can go to the
Suzanne, looks like you froze on my end.
Same here, but I would assume with the weather, the internet's probably going to go in and out.
Yeah. She'll be back.
Really good stuff so far. Really good stuff so far.
Yes, I agree. Same here.
So if you guys want to chime in while we're waiting, so if you guys have never talked to Suzanne before, I'm actually working some real estate development over in the Bay City side with her, and she's extremely versed in that department as well. So if you ever have buyers that are buying land that are looking to do like 5, 10, 20 acres and they're looking to develop on it, she's done this quite a bit, and I've gotten on several Zoom calls with her in order to pick her brain. So she's an extremely good resource to have in your back pocket if you guys need anything as far as real estate development goes. So just my little 2 cents while we wait for her to come back.
What type of development are you doing, Gabe?
It's over in Bay City. It's I actually sold the client they relocated from Austin, They relocated from Austin over to Bay City, and they got 10 acres out there, and they lived there for a year, and then they realized they're like, well, I don't know what to do with this 10 acres. And so they just opened up a huge manufacturing, like multi-million-dollar manufacturing facility out there. It's going to generate a lot of jobs, and those jobs are going to bring people, and those people need homes. So he's actually working with me and Miss Suzanne in order to put probably about it's going to be about 50 homes out there. So we're super excited about it, and she's done that. And I know if you've talked to Jeff and Amanda about it, they've done it as well with them. And Jeff told me, he's like, yeah, I have streets, and I have streets that are named after me and my kids. So super exciting to be able to do that. Right, Miss Suzanne?
Thank you. Yes, I love it. I love my job. That is like so exciting. I'm sorry about my video. Oh, there it is. It is exciting. I've also learned that I want to be the developer. I don't want to be the realtor anymore. You get a taste of that and you want to keep doing it. And it's crazy because what I'll do is I'll go to somebody who'll have like 5 acres, and when I started, first I'd ask people to loan me money. Like, hey, if I can get this land for, 15,000 an acre, I'll pay you 30,000 an acre. And then they want to loan you money, and you just want to try to divide that land up, and you sell it for 60,000 an acre. So you don't mind helping them double their money, and you're going to double your money. And I don't like working in the city limits. I like being outside the city limits. It's a lot more lenient and less expensive. And it's a lot of fun, and I get to name the subdivisions. I just got to name a street after my mom. And but I also ask the people that are involved sometimes, do they want to name something? But it is a blessing, and I really enjoyed that. And if you guys you can message me or anything if there's any way I can help educate you in that kind of way. I don't mind sharing knowledge, especially with our team. So I want everybody to do well. But there's a site called Landglide, LANDGLIDE. I don't want to mess up my internet, but you should write that down. You do have to have a membership to that place, but you can have it on your phone, and you can also use it on your computer. So on your phone, it's great because when you drive by a property and you want to know who owns it, you could just touch your finger on it. It'll come up where you're at or anywhere. And you touch on it and say how many acres it is, who owns it, what their mailing, their mailing address is, so you can find them. And I use whitepages.com to find people. But anyway, that's a great tool to have. The Landglide, using it on your laptop, you can go to the appraisal district website and you can actually overlay that with Landglide's connected to it, and you can draw out their lot. And it works. It tells you how many feet wide and how many feet long their lot is. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do, on your own. There's also a website called texasfiles.com. You're going to be addicted to that program. I got that from the title company. This lady from the title company told me about it. It's a free program to use, but anytime you want to look at a document, you have to pay $2 to view it, or $1 a page to buy it. But check and see how many pages it is. You can highlight over, and if it says it's only 3 pages, then you might go ahead and buy it. But texasfiles.com has every county in the state of Texas. You click on the county, and then you click on the address or the owner's name. If you want to see how many properties somebody owns in a county, you can just put their name in. What I usually use it for is to look up deed restrictions, to see if there's deed restrictions on land that I'm interested in or somebody else is interested in. And remember, so say the subdivision name is Enchanted Lakes. Enchanted Lakes is the grantor of the deed restrictions. You see, because the grantee is everybody who receives a lot, and this is the main subdivision, and they have to grant an easement, or they have to grant the deed restrictions. So you can look up the name of the subdivision and put them as the grantor in your search, and then go back, because it'll have every deed that they, that was sold under that name. And it could have been 30 years ago. So just go all the way back to the very beginning and you'll find the deed restrictions. Does anybody have any questions?
What is the website? It's texasfiles.com.
Uh-huh. texasfiles.com with the S on it.
Okay.
Is that an app like the other one?
No, sir, that's a site that I only use on my laptop, so I can see everything. You can check out who owns mineral deeds, water deeds. I bought some lots, and I'll tell y'all because I know you don't know who they are, but I bought some lots and they had water wells on them. And people around me actually had shared water well deeds. That means in perpetuity, forever, they have a right to use those water wells, but they didn't know it. So they sat there with their lots all these years, like 26 years, with nothing on them because they couldn't get water, And so it's pretty exciting to have knowledge. Knowledge is power on that, right? Because I bought their lots, and not bad or anything. They really wasn't going to do anything with. They sat there for a long time waiting for a big water company to come in, But Texas Files has the water agreements and the mineral rights and the deed transfers. It has deeds of trust. So if you're going to buy a lot, you can actually look on there and see if there was a deed of trust, which is a lien on the deed, right? It could be the bank. It could be a creditor or something that was allowed to put a lien on your property. It could be any kind of lien. You could have borrowed money against your property, but you can see a deed of trust. And then if it doesn't have a release of lien with it, then that's a flag to you. You go to that owner, if you're in a deal going to buy something from them, say, hey, I found this lien on the property, but there's not a release of lien. And that really helps you, because you should always check for liens if you're not going through a title company, like a personal deal. You go up to somebody, they say, oh, I'm going to sell my lot. And you go, I don't want to buy that lot. I'll go look up and see if there's any liens on it, but you don't have title insurance on it. But I'm just saying, it's even just to have some knowledge, it's good to use that.
Yeah,
even
I
if
think
you
it's Texas
follow it.
file without the S, right?
Let me look right quick.
Yeah, yeah. The other one is it's a lead capture page.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're right. TexasFile.com. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
You'll like that site. If you have any questions about how to use that too, once you can ask me, and once you learn it, you'll use it all the time. So also, I wish I'd have known back then what wholesale meant and that I could do it, right? There's a lot of people that'll want to sell something for a certain amount, and as a realtor, we didn't give them that amount, or they have their own realtor. But sometimes you can sell it in the middle, like you already have a buyer, but I have to check with EXP rules and things like that. So everybody has different rules, but it's not state-wise. So say you sell the property, you buy the property for like I bought these two acres for $60,000. The people wanted $60,000. That's what they told me they wanted for it. So as a person, I bought the 2 acres. And the next day, and the owner financed it to me. I had to put $6,000 down, and the owner financed it to me for 90 days. And the next day, I listed it and I sold it for $115,000. So I made $50,000 in the middle. But you could just tell people about you. Nowadays, you're supposed to list it. I just got an email recently that says if you're going to advertise or tell people this thing's for sale, you need to put it on MLS within 24 hours of advertising it, or it's $1,000 fine. I don't know if anybody saw that email. Sometimes I click through those and I don't even read them, but I noticed that one, if anybody else didn't notice that. So, because a lot of times we'll put it on Facebook or Craigslist, that about our listing, but if you don't put it coming soon or into the MLS, sometimes a lot of MLS are finding people for that. If it's your first year, oh, and you always have to disclose your realtor. Make sure you put that on your paper in your contract. I think that it's really great for people if it's your first year to be on a team. After a couple of years of being in real estate, I finally joined a team. I didn't like it. It was a KW team. I didn't like it that they took 50% of my money, and then I had to pay my broker too. So you really didn't make a whole lot of money, but I learned a lot, and it was a great team. It was a great group of people, and I made $41,000 that year being on that team. And so I really feel like being on a team is worth it. Your first year, you had to sign a commitment for a year, but they gave you leads, and but I knew I could do it after that, so I really recommend not making as much money, but it's so worth it in the knowledge that you gain working one-on-one with the team. Let's see. Also in zip forms, a lot of times it's hard to find documents. And so I'll just tell you right now, if you put in just a little bit of the word, the form will come up. Sometimes it'll say DISC instead of disclosure. So you might just put DISC, or if it's seller financing, just put in seller. And on-site sewer is it's on dash site sewer for the septic system. So if you just put sewer, it'll pop up. So less is more sometimes in zip forms. Okay, here's a good one for you guys. It could be bad to be too good. I know that might sound odd, but I'm a good person. I go the extra mile. I give up part of my money. I do all kinds of stuff, but it's bad because if you start off like that, a lot of times they don't want you to stop, and they'll keep asking for stuff and asking for stuff. And then you take the happy away, because I was happy doing something, but then it was almost like expected. And it could be extreme. I had a lady complain about her house, that I sold her about a house because the water came off her roof, and it bounced on the patio and came up to the door, and it caused her carpet to get wet. Well, I bought gutters, and then it was like thing after thing after thing. It was so many things. And then at the end, she filed a complaint with Trek and said, I sold her a dangerous house because she drove off her driveway into the culvert. She was elderly, but you just can, it's really good if you could just stay separated and still be kind, but try not to offer too much like it naturally sometimes we want to do. I see there's a lot of questions here. Let me click on the questions really quick. Okay. Oh yeah, wholesaling is great and it's addictive, and land development's addictive. I just love it. I just love it. Oh, the application that does the lots and the sizes is Landglide, LANDGLIDE. That's a great property because you can also take acreage and map it out. It's kind of hard to work with if you're doing a lot of little lots. You're going to have to get a surveyor to help you, or a great program. If somebody told me recently about a program, I'll try to think about that. But yeah, thank you for putting that in there. I guess I should have typed it in there. I really don't teach a lot with a group of people. I really just help people one-on-one a lot, you know. Thank you for sharing things. Sydney's so great. Okay.
I see a good question from Liz. Oh, sorry, Suzanne.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that.
She asked for best resources to strengthen negotiations, books, trainings. What would you recommend?
Man, we should do a class on that. I love to win. I love to negotiate. I'll ask for the TV on the wall, you know. I'll ask for the boat. I'll get them, you know. When I came to Houston and I was doing some real estate there, because I do it here all the time. And I asked for the patio furniture outside and the dining room table because my buyer loved it. And she's like, we don't do that here. I said, well, let me do it. And so she did. And they said something about the TV outside didn't work, but we could have something else. I mean, we got almost everything that we asked for. But anyway, I would love, there's some classes I'm sure in EXP World on negotiating for me, and I could do a class on that. So to win, really just real briefly, to win a house, they want to look at the best offer, right? And sometimes it's not the most money, it's the sure deal. So you might not have a cash buyer. I do crazy stuff, and I'm not telling you to do this. And I send a text to my buyer to tell them that they're risking their money before they make a decision. They have to text me back, yes, I understand, or I'm not going to make the deal. And that protects me, you know. So I'll do stuff like a one-day option period. We'll give $10,000 earnest money, and we want a one-day option period, you know. And that's only like, I want this house so bad, I've got to win this house, blah, blah, blah. I'll call my inspector and I'll say, can you come inspect this house tomorrow? Can you fit me in one day? I cover myself first, so I protect my buyer. I get everything lined up, but that's the way to really win, is to do high earnest money and a short option period, because sometimes the earnest money is protected anyway, because you have a 21-day financing period or a 15-day financing period. I work with Supreme Lending a lot. I don't push them, but I know they can close an FHA or conventional deal in 10 days. Like, I've done it. I don't like to do it unless I really need to do it, because it's a lot of work for them and pressure on them, but I'll do it, and they do it to keep the business. You know, it makes them better. They have their own underwriting department and everything. But to have a loan and be able to close in 2 weeks, you know, is a big deal. And so that really helps you in negotiating. And I'm happy to, you can have my number if you want to put my phone number in there, or I can put my phone number in here. Anybody can text me anytime. Of course, you could look me up. Sorry. I'm nervous. Isn't that funny? I get nervous talking to a lot of people. Okay. But I know my stuff. I mean, I like it, love it. You know, it just, you know, when you talk to a lot of people, you get nervous. And as Sydney was saying, be confident. You should be confident in yourself. They don't know you're new. They're going to assume a young person is new and an older person is you know, seasoned, when it could be totally opposite. So just have confidence in yourself. If you know your stuff, you're going to feel confident about yourself. When you learn about the areas, and if you know it's going to be remote, you know about the water wells and septic systems and things like that. Lenders can pay half your advertising. I didn't know that. So if you have a favorite lender that you use, they can pay up to 50% legally. And so you choose it. You might want to put it to KB Core. You might want to use homes.com or a favorite. I haven't been real successful with Zillow lately, so I haven't really loved that one, but just kind of feel it out. And if you can only do $100 a month, your lender can do $100 a month or $500 or $1,000. And my lender will do up to $10,000 a month, but you have to match it. And that'll give you a lot of leads and you'll get your money back. Most of the time, if you get that phone right away, you've got to call them right away or text them or do a video text. I know it's hard to do, but those really do put your face to it. And you get a lot of good response with that, a video text. Lenders can also contribute to closing cost. Sometimes that makes your interest rate a tiny bit more, but if the people don't have money and they only have their down payment, ask your lender, can you give $1,000? I'll give $1,000, and then I'll ask the seller to give $2,000, and then we can get like all their closing costs. If you all pull together, you can find ways to get your buyer's closing cost. Learn the programs. If you have a favorite lender, if you don't, I can give you my lender, but talk to Amanda. I think she's a loan originator, but learn the programs, right? Everybody feels, oh, a VA doesn't have to put any money down. That's right. They don't have to put money down, but they do have closing costs. They can piggyback a program with their no money down VA loan. So like there's a program called T-Shack, Seth is a grant. And so the VA person the veteran doesn't have to put money down, and they could use a Seth grant if they qualify, like, a 640 credit. And I think there could be an income limit on that. So you check with your buyer, but also a T-Shack loan is really good for teachers and firefighters and, just people in general. That also helps with their down payment. So, or their closing cost, either way, wherever they need their money. But talk to your lender. USDA is most everything outside the city limits, and you can go to usda.gov, I believe the site is. You can go to the USDA website and put in lookup address, and you can put in the address and it'll light up green and say, this property is in a USDA area, or this address is not in a USDA area, and that'll be red. So if it's green, they could use that program, and that's also a no money down program, so they can use the money they do have for closing costs. There's really not, you hear about a first-time home buyer program, and they use that for advertising, just like they use veteran things for advertising. Most any lender can do the programs, and so it doesn't have to be your first time to buy a house to get that program. So it's still the T-Shack and Seth grants and loans that they're using for first-time home buyers, but it's really for everybody, so. But you tell somebody looking for a house and they see first-time home buyer program, but they're stuck in their head that that's really what it is. So make sure you ask about those grants, because that's so important to help your buyer. A lot of people probably heard about the 2-1 buy down they've got going on right now, and that's really they're putting their own money in a savings account. So it seems like you're really buying down the point. But if the interest rate doesn't drop, they're counting on the interest rate dropping and everybody refinancing with the money they still have in their little escrow from their 2 points that they bought for the 2-1 buy down. But if the interest rate didn't go down, they'd be stuck in the higher interest rate. So if you're new in real estate and you don't know about just regular buying down points, buying down the interest rate using points, you should learn about that, because sometimes the interest rate could drop a whole point. Usually it's like 0.75%, and they might have to pay a point, and a point is like 1%. So if it's a $200,000 house, they would pay like a $2,000 fee to buy down their interest rate like 0.5% or a whole percent. But if they're at 6.5%, and it's that one-time fee, they can change their interest rate to 5.5% for the life of their loan. It's worth it to them if they intend on keeping their home for a while, for a long time. Okay. Be your own boss. You have to treat it like it's a business. Like, I try to help people and give them leads. I used to spend a lot of money on leads and people just didn't give effort. And I would love to help people that want to really give effort. And I do have some really great people that work with me. But I don't know if I kind of spoil people sometimes when they first come out or what, but you really have to treat it like a job. Like, use your whiteboard, you know, write down the properties. Sydney has her wealth chart. I didn't do a wealth chart for a long time, but do your wealth chart. I have it now. And I set crazy goals, you know, and I really love to win. There's also a website that I wanted to share with you called Rocket Lawyer. Not that you're going to make any kind of legal documents for anybody that you are the client for, but just for yourself in the future, if you do get into doing more business and want to learn all kinds of legal documents. I use Rocket Lawyer for deeds and deed of trust and promissory notes and things like that. But you definitely maybe want to have a title person look it over if you're doing it for yourself. But I know as a realtor, we don't practice law or any, you know, law, but that's a great website. Texas Files is the best. Okay, well, does anybody have any questions?
This is really good resource. Thank you, Suzanne.
Oh, thank you, you're so nice. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good to see you.
Thank you, you as well. If anybody ever has questions about, I mean, I feel like I'm still little, you know, I feel like I'm really, you know, you see people so much greater than you and you're like, oh, I want to be there. I want to be there, but really be happy where you're at. And you can text myself, and I know Hui is so kind for his timing. And anytime you can reach out to me if there's something that you want to move forward with and need some help. And I think the USDA website was usda.gov. Let me put that in my phone.
Suzanne,
Yeah.
while you're,
Yes.
I've got a question while you're doing that. Do you have your loan originator's license?
I don't. No, I don't. I have checked into that. I did get the paperwork for that. I didn't do it. I know Amanda just did it. So yeah, but I know EXP is really getting involved in that, and that's probably good too, but I'm drowning. And not just with buyers and sellers, just I have a goal of that I'm already working on, and I do want to be a mentor to some people, so I give myself a little time, so I just haven't done that yet. So, and somebody asked about where do you suggest we go get the information on to buy a point? Your lender is going to tell you what, do you have a lender? If you don't have a favorite lender, you know, we have some through EXP. Amanda is, someone's asking who Amanda is. Amanda Whitespear, Amanda and Jeff Whitespear. They're like, they're number one in EXP, number one most homes sold and everything. It's okay. It's okay. So Amanda's my daughter. Yay. And she said she doesn't know Amanda, she's new. And that's okay. Welcome. You couldn't be on a better team. I'm telling you, it is so, I win people over that say they won't let me do, you know, a certain transaction, or they want to take this from me. And I tell everybody, don't give up anything. Call me, I'll help you. But yeah, Amanda is, she's number one in our company, but she's really our team leader. She's a wonderful example of a person all the way around. She's a beautiful person. She's successful. Her and her husband have a great story. They didn't start out successful, and they're just like everybody else, and they know that, and they care about helping everybody do well, because really we do well if everybody else does well. And I want to be better. Like, I just strive to even be better myself, of having more time for the people under me, you know.
Yeah, so Suzanne, let me just say this before I have to hop on for another meeting. You know, like all the stuff that you know, if you guys knew, you know, all the stuff that Suzanne told you, you know, I know I've been there. You know, you're gonna sit it on your closet and then you're gonna forget about it, right? Because you don't practice. So the best way for new agent, you know, to actually get, you know, do better, you know, get into the game, if you will, is to hang out with person like Suzanne, Amanda, you know, like all everybody in here, right? And the best way to do it, I know it sounds like a selfish, but take a serious look at eXp Realty, especially, picking Suzanne, as your sponsor, right? Because if you don't do that, all the stuff that we talk about here, you're just gonna put on your closet and you're gonna forget about it. Trust me, right? So rule number one, be in close proximity with the people who do a lot of stuff. So Suzanne, thank you so much for what you do. If you have any question, interested in EXP, looking forward to have a sponsor, call Suzanne, right? She's going to be your lady. And Suzanne, thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm here to help everybody. So it doesn't, and I lean on everybody else too. It's such a great network of people to help each other. Thank you, Hui. You have a great day.
Okay, I got it done, but thank you guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And Angela, my phone number is in the list up there, and you're welcome to call me or text me. And I'd be happy to show you. There's a network of people right by you, and everybody's so great. They really are. Does anybody else have any questions?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll ask something. For new agents, I guess your first year, you hear 100 different things, what you should be doing. And so you're kind of scattered all over the place instead of really focusing on just a few things and getting really good at those. What would you recommend being those just few things to really focus on?
Yeah, Ken said education, and that's true. I think that if it, like every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, we have these meetings, and I miss some of them sometimes, but they're so good. You can learn from people that really know their stuff. And then a lot of times we'll do extra classes. You're learning from successful people. I mean, you're surrounded by successful people that are taking the time out to talk to you. So I would say, listen to them, send them a text, say, hey, I want to do this. How do I get started? And it's hard sometimes, but you have such a great support group. That's what I would say to really get started. They might have some ideas for you too, but I would get on a team. I'd focus on getting on a team too, to get leads. We even offer leads. Team Legacy offers leads, I think, for a 25% referral fee or something. We just started doing that. So yeah, we have script practice every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. See, I see that on there. Thank you, Gabe. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question. Do you have any
Yeah.
recommendation for continuing education? Like, what's a great resource or your favorite?
So I just use Aceable Agent. I don't know if you've heard of that before. And
I have heard. Yeah.
they are like the least expensive, and they have the number one rated. They're number one rated for passing.
Nice.
I like them, and I used a different one when I first got into real estate, and they're not even in business anymore. But a Champion was always really hot. That was a great company. Kaplan was always number one, but I think Aceable Agent has really took over.
Cool. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? And excuse my mess, we're moving. We restored an old home and then added onto it. I'm super excited. Our house is like a 1910 house that we relocated onto new land. That's what I do as well. I relocate old houses onto new land, and that's good money too. It's so fun. I just love my job.
Suzanne, it's Cam on the north side on behalf
Hi,
of the
Cam.
hi friend. On behalf of the Omega team, there are several of us here in our new conference facility. We've got a beautiful facility in Oak Ridge, close to the Woodlands. We're signing a long-term lease, and so we're very excited about that. And so Omega team is going, and we will hopefully see a lot of you guys at the class and the social on Friday.
Yay, congratulations. We just love you guys. Thank you, Cam.
You're welcome. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and bump off on the north
Thank
side.
you.
Anything
Okay, does
else?
anybody else have any
Anything else,
questions?
Sydney?
No, but
Right.
thank you again. I appreciate all the information. Very valuable. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank-
Bye-bye.